What Zelenskyy means right now to his country cannot be overstated. But who is he? This hour, we speak with people who know him, who've worked with him, to get an understanding of what makes him Ukraine's fighter-in-chief. James Packard begins our special report.
Volodymyr Zelenskyy is a news star for the international community. But for Ukrainians, their made-on-TV president has always been front and center.
You know, when I met him, he was so full of energy and full of ideas all the time.
A lawyer by training and comic by trade, Zelenskyy carved out his place in Ukrainian entertainment in the early 2000s, competing in comedy contests and producing TV shows before he was 30. It wasn't just luck propelling this small-town outsider to center stage in Ukrainian media. There was something about him. His energy, his timing, his ability to pierce through the screen and grab hold of an audience.
Picking him up like that. We can do like this. We can do that. Let's do that. It was really, really a lot of fun to meet him, to work with him, I must say. He is a very, very creative person.
Movies followed. And with enough star power, he started his own production company.
Василий Петрович Голобородько. Доброе утро, господин президент.
But it was a satirical political comedy that would change his life most dramatically. The story of a history teacher unwittingly thrust into the Ukrainian presidency became his real world when his character's rants on political corruption spilled out of the TV and into real life.
The comedy was in the clash between the expectations from the corrupt society, how he should behave, and this ordinary man.
In 2019, Zelenskyy became Ukraine's president, ousting Petro Poroshenko.
He rode on the popularity of the TV show, and then he got 73% of the vote. It was a landslide victory in the elections.
From the start, his tenure was destined for headlines. TV president becomes real-life one. But what ended up making him known to the rest of the world is much more significant than that.
Article 1 is adopted.
First, finding himself tangled in the web of a questionable phone call with the American president and a remark that would lead to Donald Trump's first impeachment. Then, it was growing tension with his neighboring country, a conflict already broken out in a war he had pledged to end, but found difficult to de-escalate.
If you'd asked me about President Zelenskyy last year, I had kind of mixed views on him. I mean, there were some things he was doing well, but I thought that he was falling short when it came to terms of some of the critical reforms that had to be made in Ukraine, really dealing with corruption and dealing with some of the oligarchs.
And now, with the pariah of the West blazing rockets and tanks into the heart of his country, Volodymyr Zelenskyy finds himself where no world leader wants to be, at the intersection of the gravest threat to global stability since World War II.
You feel so much for him. He could be dead tomorrow.
Raised in a Russian-speaking town, part of a Jewish family, and grandson to the only of 4 brothers to survive the Holocaust, he is perhaps at the human intersection of the Russian roots and Jewish minority that has come to define Vladimir Putin's twisted pretext for war.
Подвергаются издевательствам, геноциду со стороны киевского режима.
A denazification, he's called it. Rich for a man who has a Jewish leader, one of the few outside Israel, at the top of his hit list.
They do not know these streets. They do not know our people, do not understand our philosophy, our aspirations, what type of people we are. They don't know anything here. They were just sent here to fight and to die.
Despite the threat of assassination, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has daringly stood guard in the abandoned streets of his own capital, refused offers to leave, and pleaded with his constituents in a flood of selfie videos and tweets to defend their home.
I mean, here he is with his flak jacket on, out having morning tea with the soldiers in Kyiv. And he said, I'm going to stay in Kyiv.
It is the kind of effective communication, the kind of piercing human connection that made him a star to begin with, and now has the power to move even the most stoic of observers to world events.
We are fighting just for our land and for our freedom.
Observers say it may just be the secret ingredient to ward off Russia. But even if Russia succeeds, Zelenskyy has already proven that as life imitates art, so too can art propel a nation to rally its courage and source its hope from one man, an artist, staring down the barrel of 1,000 guns to defend truth and democracy.
And he's such a hero, I must say. I'm full of admiration for him, what he's doing now. I don't think every man would do the same.
James Packard, Newsy, Los Angeles.